Hello everyone, today we will learn 6.3 gains from efficient investment. 1. The model. It includes 1. Introduction to the basic model. 3. Efficient investment, a numerical example and a generalization. 4. Generalizing. 5. Summary. 1. Introduction. Urbanist delivers gains not only on the consumption side, but also on the investment side by improving a country's ability to augment its capital stock and take advantage of new production opportunities. 2. The basic model. We now assume that production output requires labor and capital, which is created over time by investing output. When we make this change, the LRBC 6-4 must be modified to include investment as a component of GNE. We still assume that government consumption G is 0. With this change, the LRBC becomes 0 equals present value of TB. Because the TB is output Q minus consumption C and investment I, we can rewrite this last equation in the following form. Present value of Q equals present value of C plus present value of I. The LRBC will hold if and only if the present value of output Q equals the present value of expenditure C plus I. Using this modified LRBC, we now study investment and consumption decision in two cases. A closed economy in which external borrowing and lending are not possible. The trade balance is 0 in all periods, and the LRBC is automatically satisfied. An open economy in which borrowing and lending are possible, and the trade balance can be more or less than 0. And we must verify that the LRBC is satisfied. 3. Efficient investment, a numerical example and generalization. Let's start with a country that has output of 100, consumption say of 100, low investment, a 0 trade balance, and 0 external worth. But now, suppose there is a shock in year 0 that takes the form of a new investment opportunity. We assume that the investment in machines or factories or mines would require an expenditure of 16 units, and that the investment will pay off the future years by increasing the country's output by 5 units in year 1 and all subsequent years, but not in year 0. So that it makes this investment, and if it does, will it make out better if it is open or closed? Now suppose an open economy undertakes the investment. First, we must calculate the difference this would make to the country's resources as measured by the present value of output. Output would be 100 today and then 105 in every subsequent year. The present value of this stream of output is 100 plus 105 divided by 0.05 or 2,200. This is an increase of 100 over the old present value of output, 2,100. The present value of the addition to output of 5 units every subsequent period is 100. Looking at that LRBC, we have calculated the present value of output 2,200, and now we have the present value of investment 16. We can see that the present value of consumption must equal 2,200 minus 16, or 2,184. This is a 4% higher than it was without the investment. Even though some expenditure has to be devoted to investment, the resources available for consumption has risen by 4% in present value terms, from 2,100 without the investment to 2,184 with it. We can now find the new level of smooth consumption each period that satisfies the LRBC, because the present value of C has risen by 4% from 2,100 to 2,184. The country can afford to raise consumption C in all periods by 4% from 100 to 104 as a track. Note that 104 plus 104 divided by 0.05 equals 2,184. Is the country better off if it makes the investment? Yes. Not only does its consumption remain smooth, but it is also 4% higher in all periods. Table 6-4 lays out the details of this case. In year 0, consumption C is 104, investment I is 16, and the GNE is 120. The trade balance is minus 20. Because output Q is on 100, the country must borrow 20 units in year 0 to fund the investment of 16 and the additional units of consumption the country can afford as a result of the investment. In all future years, consumption C is 104, and because there is no subsequent investment, GNE is also 104. Output Q is 105, and the trade balance is plus 1. The initial trade deficit of 20 in year 0 results in an external debt of 20. As a perpetual note with an interest rate of 5%, this debt of 20 must be serviced by net interest payments of minus 1 in each subsequent year if the LRBC is to be satisfied. The interest paid of minus 1 offsets the trade surplus of plus 1 each period forever. Hence, the current account is 0 in all future years, with no further borrowing, and the country's external worth is minus 20 in all periods. External worth does not explode, and the LRBC is satisfied. For generalizing, suppose that a country starts with 0 external worth, constant output Q, consumption C equals to output, and the investment I equal to 0. A new investment opportunity appears requiring delta K units of output in year 0. This investment will generate an additional delta Q units of output in year 1 and all later years, but not in year 0. The increase in the present value of output PVQ comes from actual output in every year, but not year 0. And the present value of these additions to output is changes in present value of output equals the present value of a stream of delta Q equals delta Q divided by R star. The change in the present value of the investment PVI is simply delta K. Investment will increase the present value of consumption if and only if delta Q divided by R star is at least as great as delta K. Rearranging. Delta Q divided by delta K is at least as great as R star. Firms will take on investment projects as long as the marginal product of capital, delta Q divided by delta K or MPK, is at least as great as the real interest rate. Marginal product of capital is at least as great as world real interest rate. 5. Summary. Make hay while the sun shines. In an open economy, firms borrow and repay to undertake investment that maximize the present value of output. Households also borrow and lend to smooth consumption. When investing, an open economy says it is MPK equals to the world real interest rate. In a closed economy, any resources invested are not consumed. More investment implies less consumption. This creates a trade-off. Proverbially, financial openness helps countries to make hay while the sun shines, and in particular, to do so without having to engage in a trade-off against the important objective of consumption smoothing. Thank you.